Another blitz. Hurts takes it right up the gut. Touchdown Eagles. Here's the deep ball. Got hit as he let it go. Oh, Devontae Smith. What a catch. From 54 for the win. On the way. It is there. And the Eagles remain unbeaten.
Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
Hello, Matthew Mitchell.
And we are officially in playoff football. It is Wild Card weekend. The Eagles are playing the Buccaneers on Monday night. It is a new season. Every team is 0-0, and we are rolling towards the Super Bowl now. Obviously, Eagles aren't off to a hot start after our rough loss to the Giants this past weekend that nobody was, I'm sure everybody turned off by halftime because it was, we had to win to keep the division alive. We started off incredibly poorly and didn't get any better from there. And we kind of just watched the division, sail away to the Cowboys, unfortunately. And not that they ended up winning their game anyway. Our game essentially didn't matter in the long run of things, but it was a demoralizing way to go down in the end of the season. Do you have any quick thoughts on that? We're not going to spend too much time on that.
I know. Demoralizing was an understatement of that game. I love how you said it's a new season. I hope it's a new season because if we play like that, we might lose. We're going to lose to any team in the NFL. And it sucks to end the season that way. And obviously, no one really played the second half. It sucks AJ gets hurt in the first half to start the game. We're just riddled with injuries. Jalen's finger. It's just nothing is looking like it's going in our direction. That game only hurt us in just on the football field and off the football field because of not only mentally but the injuries that happened. Jalen's finger is like sideways, and he finally kind of threw the ball for the first time yesterday. A little bit today, not really.
He threw lightly. He's not going to be passing the ball a whole lot, which is a scary thought.
It's kind of scary, especially going into this game. We'll break it down, but it's and then you have AJ questionable. It's not fun. And then you have Sidney Brown tearing his ACL. It's out and gone. That doesn't help. I'm not saying he's the reason we're in anything or anything, but it just none of this is looking like anything going our way. We're not getting any help from anything at the moment. It's a complete turnaround from what happened in the beginning of the season where everything was bouncing our way and stuff. Every fumble was going our way, and we ended games with great drives and everything else. So complete opposite, complete 180. And I'm hoping we can find somewhere in the middle where we can try to perform as a team, and we're going to break that down. So I can't look at this season for the last 6 games. I have to look at it as a whole, and I'm just hoping and praying that we get more of that first 11 games than the last 6 because it's been brutal and disgusting.
Yeah, well, I'd have to agree with you completely. I mean, it's been a turnaround of a team that I've never seen before in my time watching football, and even my dad was saying the same thing to me, and he's been watching for 30 years longer than I have. It was a tale of 2 seasons. I mean, just about a month ago, I want to bring this stat up. Just about a month ago, the Eagles were 10-1. Hurts was the clear MVP favorite. We were the number 1 rush defense in the NFL, the number 6 overall defense in the NFL, the number 4 passing offense, and the number 4 rushing offense. Just 30 days ago.
It's ridiculous.
It is pretty crazy. But to an extent, I do say that with a little bit of hope behind those words because this team, they're there. They already did it. They had the capability. I have never seen a turnaround like we saw this year, but it's not unheard of either. This isn't the first time it's happened in NFL history. Other teams have done this. We've already spoken about the fact that this happened to the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl in 2012. And these things happen. It was not fun to watch. Like I said earlier, I'm hoping that this is just going to turn into an 0-0 record for everybody, brand new season. I hope they come out with a new mentality, but like you said, those injuries definitely hurt. I mean, before I move on to anything, obviously no one from the NFL is going to be watching me talk about this, But like, for the love of goodness, can we please get rid of the MetLife turf? I mean, the amount of people that have gotten hurt on that field is, astronomical. And if you compared the amount of injuries in the Giants and Jets stadium to everyone else in the league, it wouldn't even I think it probably would be the rest of the league's stadiums combined into into one. It's getting a little out of hand. People clearly get hurt on it all the time. Just make a change. The NFL has plenty of money. It's not that hard.
That's ridiculous. It's you hate to see it. You hate to see injuries anywhere, especially toward the end of the season when evidently the game didn't matter. But
exactly. But with that being said, let's just that game's in the past. Unfortunately, things didn't go our way. People got hurt. We're hopeful that everybody's getting healed up and is working towards playing this Sunday. We haven't heard any word on AJ Brown yet. He didn't practice today, so it's not great news. But I do have a feeling that he's going to do whatever he can to be out there on the field on Monday. But it's probably going to be a game time decision. We've already briefly spoken about the fact that Hurts probably won't be throwing the ball a whole lot, and we'll get down into that a little bit more in a second. And do you have anything on Devontae Smith? I didn't see anything much about him.
He's playing. He said he's going to be out there playing. He was practicing yesterday and today. He came out and basically said, "I'm going to eat on that field no matter what." So good. I don't see any other. I haven't seen anything from AJ. He didn't practice today. Today's Friday, the 12th, and that kind of scares me. I was going to mention the social media stuff, but just real quick, what do you think about that? So basically, a little bit floating around on Instagram, AJ Brown deleted the Eagles out of his bio. He deleted basically any posts related to football out of his Instagram. Do you take anything from that? Is it just him doing a new slate? Is it him? Do you take anything away from that? Does it make you scared?
I mean, it definitely does make me scared. It puts a little sense of nervousness into me, just in case, because obviously sometimes that is a sign of an unhappy player or somebody that wants to, leave a team. But with the timing and everything going on, I don't think that's the case. We've obviously heard in recent weeks about AJ Brown trying to be a leader. He tried to take the team to a escape room to, get some off-field bonding in. We talked about his, leadership qualities last week in, the loss to the Cardinals and how he handled that a little iffily, but we talked about his leadership qualities and the fact that he knows he's the most looked at and, and all that nonsense. And on top of that, he also brought together, I'm pretty sure, 2 players only meetings, including one in the past week. So
yeah, we got our crap stomped out of us, but yeah.
I understand. But with that being said, I don't think that a player that's calling player meetings and taking guys out for team bonding is, right before the playoffs start, going to wipe his Instagram because he wants off the team and wants to make a problem. So 100%. I don't think that's the point. I think that it's, I think he's trying to make the point, like you said, clean slate, walk into the playoffs, 0-0. I think he just wants to, cross off social media, kind of go into his LeBron 0 dark 30 mode and, just get down to it. So I wouldn't buy into it too much, personally.
Yeah. And then since we're going to go right into the Bucs game, we're talking about injuries. Baker Mayfield did not practice on Thursday, and he was limited during practice today, having rib and ankle issues. So both teams are kind of banged up for this game. This is going to be a very interesting game. It's kind of who's going to play. I think I can kind of, I don't want to say guarantee that Jalen's going to play. I don't want to say I guarantee that Baker's going to play, but I can almost say that I doubt they would not be out there. It would take a lot for them not to be out there.
They're both there's a 99% chance that both of them play.
Yeah, I could see them both going out there if one they're both that type of guy, and it's a playoff game. It's one and done. You're out.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I like to say especially for these type of games, players will do everything to play. I honestly expect to see AJ out there. It would surprise me if he's not. If this was a regular season game, I would probably lean for him not playing, especially not practicing on Friday. But it is a Monday game, so it's as much as it scares me, he's AJ Brown, and if he needs to heal,
we need that man for a playoff win.
It doesn't matter if he's out there as a decoy, if he's out there as AJ Brown. Obviously I want him out there as AJ Brown, being the elite receiver that he is, but I just need him out in the field, and I think
I'd have to agree with that
part. All right. Do you want to go into this game breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the offense. So, what do you think you want to see from our offensive side of the ball that will, make the difference in our game? And I know this is probably going to come off as a broken record because I think we all know what we want to see.
We all know what we want to see, and we saw it in week 3 when we played them. We need to run the freaking football, for goodness sake, for everything that's holy. We had 201 rushing yards against them last time. We gave the ball to Swift, I believe, 16 times. He had 130 yards. We gave it the game well 14 times. He had 43. But nonetheless, we have to feed DeAndre Swift this game. We need to get him out. I don't want to see any split screens at all. If we are going to do this type of screens, can we please do him to Swift to get him out in space? I just don't understand how we haven't used him as a passing back at all. Like, I love him downhill too. I just don't understand. You want to get guys involved on split screens and stuff. How are we not? He's literally a passing back. Like, at Georgia, that was everything. And the Lions, that was an entire role because Jamal Williams took the other part. Like,
I talked about how high of expectations I had for his productivity this year because
and great on the ground too.
Exactly.
Don't go
away
from that.
I specifically said all-purpose yards because that man is a receiving back, and it was something that we've been missing from our offense for a long time. So I was excited for the opportunity for him to come in here and make a difference in our offense and add an extra weapon to an already dangerous, offensive scheme. But obviously, we've only run about 5 total plays this year in cycle. So that wasn't what I was expecting, unfortunately.
And I don't know how we haven't mentioned it like kind of sooner, but this has to be the week that we do it, right? Because Hurts might get the ball down the field a couple of times, but the majority of the plays have to be coming before the sticks. You're going to have to give the guys catch and run opportunity. Obviously, he's going to have to be able to throw the ball down the field just to keep the defense honest. But if we can just get him out in space and just even if it's a check down pass, even like we have to get Swift going. We have to get him on the ground going. We have to be able to run the ball against this team. And that's the strength of Tampa Bay's defense. But nonetheless, like last game, we dominated the time possession from them. And that's going to be the key to this game too. I mean, that's the key to any game, but especially against a team like Tampa where they do have a fiery offense. They have weapons. Just keep them off the field. Keep Baker off the field. And we can control this game on the ground. And that is the number one thing that we have to do on offense.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, I don't have much difference from that. I mean, like you said, obviously we're going to be playing with a lot of banged up players with a hurt AJ Brown, a hurt Jalen Hurts, hurt Devontae Smith. So the passing game is not where you're going to find your strength this game. It just isn't. And hopefully they realize that, I'm sure they do. And, if Hurts is throwing the ball, you're not going to see any deep shots down the field. You're going to see short dink and dunk passes from him at best. So, and you're not going to want guys like AJ Brown, going full sprint down the field with a bad knee. So, expect a short offense, dink and dunk, quick passes. Unfortunately, I'm sure we're going to see a ton of screen passes. It's a pain in the ass, but this is like Brian Johnson's probably drooling right now thinking about how many he can throw with the fact that we can't we can't move the ball super downfield with these injuries. But
we're gonna have to try though. We have to, or the defense knows exactly what we know.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody in the league can tell you what plays we're running. It's not very hard to figure it out.
We have to at least try to get the ball at least mid like 15 yards down the field. Like we have to have something.
Yeah.
You can't have these corners just press them. But this like you mentioned, the play calling, I don't understand it. I don't get it. If we run a freaking screen and Devonta Smith is blocking for not even the first drive, but any play, I might throw my phone through the TV as the first play of the game. I'll be honest. I don't know if I could watch it.
I wouldn't blame you, honestly. I hope we don't see a whole lot of it. Screen passes are not meant to be run more than once, maybe twice a game because they're supposed to be, I don't know, a surprise. But it's whatever. We'll wait and see what he does with, our lack of, health this game. But like you said, the key to the game is going to be run the ball and, shove it down their throats. Pause. But, you gotta you gotta run the ball straight down the hill all day. So, I mean, you're not going to have a lot of help from Jalen this game as much as I'm sure he wants to. You just got to make it work. So, with that being said, let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Baker's a little bit banged up. They don't have, their offense is a mixed bag. I don't want to say they're stellar, but they kind of are. The Bucs are kind of a weird team. I honestly haven't kept a lot of tabs on the Bucs this year because obviously we started off strong against them and blew them out. And, they kind of have inched their way through. I know they're a good team. I know they've kept their pace and done their thing, but they haven't scared me this year. So tell me if you have any specific thoughts on, what this team has to offer and what we should be worried about.
I mean, nonetheless, they've won 5 out of their last 6 games. They've been playing decent football, but they've been playing decent football against borderline. They've been against Green Bay. They beat Jacksonville. They beat Carolina twice and the Falcons. And then they lost to New Orleans. This team is, they have Godwin and Mike Evans are both 1,000-yard receivers this year. Godwin barely scratching the surface after last week. But this team is going to try. They have to be able. Rachaad White has been kind of underrated this year. He hasn't been stellar, but I think that if we shut down Rachaad White, we just because of Baker's injuries, I know Baker's still going to air the ball out down the field. And
Baker ain't worried about nothing. Baker ain't worried about nothing.
No, he doesn't care. He could be. He doesn't even have to have an arm. He's going to throw it all the way down the field.
Absolutely.
We just need to play better in the secondary. Just let nothing underneath, nothing but behind us. Honestly, we got to stop the big plays. This is what this team has relied on all year. Obviously, Mike Evans is a great 50-50 ball guy. In the last game, we held them to basically nothing in the rushing game. We played a pretty stellar game on defense last game. They got 40 yards rushing total. Baker threw for 146 yards, and they didn't have the ball. Just stop the big plays and stop the run game. And if they want it, and it's just going to have to be up to Baker to make those throws underneath. And he usually doesn't take them as much as other quarterbacks do, if I'm being completely honest.
He's a gunslinger. He wants the big plays.
He does, and that's just kind of how he is and kind of how he always will be. It's just his personality / Godwin would have had a better year if he took everything underneath. And that's just how Baker plays the game. And it's not – kind of bites him in the butt sometimes, but obviously when he completes that long ball, he looks like the guy.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward kind of game.
No, and they're coming off a game where they won 9-0 to the Panthers to clinch the division and get the spot. Obviously, we know the Panthers haven't been anything fantastic this year, but they were still just finding a way. They've been giving Rachaad White the ball a lot, and if we are able to lock him down, I think that we can stop Baker. And I don't want to say that I can't say that with much confidence because our defense hasn't been able to do anything on either side, rushing the ball or passing. I just don't understand what the collapse is. I hope we find anything because we have given up a lot of rushing yards. I don't know if you noticed.
I've noticed. Don't worry.
A ton. You want to talk about James Conner? You want to talk about Saquon? You want to talk about Saquon again? We need to stop the rush to start anything because they will. You know what they do, Matt? They use the rush to set up their play action passes. Could you imagine doing that? I couldn't imagine doing that. Could you imagine having a receiver I don't know, could you imagine having an AJ Brown type receiver like Mike Evans? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh wait, never mind. We don't have AJ Brown to go deep down the field and have one-on-one coverage to safety throw him a 50-50 ball. Oh, no. We have to throw it in double coverage because we don't set up crap. So my key to the game is stopping the run just based on the pure fact that will contain the pass. That's their entire setup. They do it like a regular team, and if they can run all over us, the game's going to be over.
Well, funny enough, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was going to be my key to the game too because, like you said, if we stop that run, then, we put all the reliance on Baker Mayfield, who is playing injured and who is a risky player in general, even when he's healthy. So, I think the odds-on favorite to win this game is to put the ball in Baker's hands and make him beat us, because
You have to.
Obviously that's easier said than done. Our defensive line, I think, is the biggest problem in our defense, to be honest. It hasn't been talked enough about this year. The lack of production from our D-line. I mean, the ends don't hold contain. They don't put pressure on the quarterback. Hassan Reddick did okay this year. I'm not even going to say he had a good year. He did okay. Josh Sweat.
It's kind of
It's
a down year for him for sure.
Josh Sweat, I thought, was a little disappointing this year. Jalen Carter obviously started out the season hot. He showed me a lot of great things this season, but this past 1-5 stretch, he has been non-existent. Same with Jordan Davis. He started out the season hot. He seemed to have gone cold. I haven't heard his name called a whole lot. He's good in the run, and I'll always give him that. But he's been, a lack thereof of his name lately. And, lastly, Fletcher Cox is just old in the tooth, unfortunately. And, he's had his moments this year where he's played well. But this latter stretch, it really does just feel like this D-line is tired. And they play, that's how it looks. Like, it looks like they're tired. So I'm hopeful that they're going to come out with some high energy, start the game off hot. If you can stop Rachaad White, then I think that's the key to winning this game. And I don't honestly, not a whole lot else to say about it, because we could talk all day about what kind of schemes and different things to do about their passing game. But simply, our secondary's got to perform. I mean, they got to tackle first and foremost, our linebackers included. I mean, nobody knows how to tackle all of a sudden. That's the first thing we got to learn how to do again. And second of all, I mean, I'm sick of seeing our, once again, like, contained guys, our safeties, on deep bombs, watching them trail guys, running behind them, sprinting after them. Like, don't let anybody over the top of you. I mean, I know, like, I'm not paying attention to what the responsibilities are in front of them, but it just feels like they're always chasing the guy, especially Reed Blankenship. I kind of love him. I kind of hate him.
He can tackle. That's about it.
Yeah, even then, I feel like he has iffy moments where he just throws himself at people. But regardless, I think that's just the saltiness of me coming out a little bit here with the way the season ended. So I don't think I have another key to the game. I want everybody to play clean football. I don't want to see a lot of penalties. If we can get a turnover or two, that would be massive for this game, obviously. But that's pretty blatant and obvious. And stopping this run, I think, will put them in a tough position. So that's where we got to start.
Yeah. We're getting Slay back, so that'll help slightly. Just wanted to touch on his comments real quick, that I'll do quote unquote, it might be a good thing that we're going on the road. They get to boo fast. They get to booing fast in Philly. Don't need the boos. Do you have any thoughts on that quote? Do you take it personally at all, or is it just
take it personal? Absolutely not. I mean, Philly does boo people when they're playing bad, and Philly would boo us if we were, like, Philly would boo the team if they were at home. I think so, and
I would.
Yeah, I get it, and I don't blame anybody for it either. But I do think that I'm gonna say that I am sick of Slay opening his mouth. It always feels like he just has some little 2 cents to put in. So I'm a little sick of that. But regardless, I do think he has a point. I think people took it a little bit harshly. I don't think he's coming at the fans. I think he's talking about the team in this regard, where you're talking about kicking a guy when they're down. He doesn't want that. Like, this team needs any pick-me-up they can get right now, and Philly is not there to provide it at the moment because everybody's pissed off and tired. And I think he has a point that he's saying, like, we just want to go in with a clean slate and get to it. Like, we don't want the hour distractions. We don't need people reminding us how bad we've been. We don't need to have our confidence drop that much further. We need to just get out there and do our thing. And I wish he said it a little bit cleaner and a little bit more like that, but I do think that's generally what he was getting at. So I'm not taking it anything personal, but I do wish he'd keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, right? But it doesn't matter. I would rather him talk trash to the other team. But nonetheless, they haven't deserved. They haven't played like they deserve to get cheers. So, and in Philly, we don't give them anything.
Well, like I do. We saw in Philly how much of a difference it made for Trey Turner when we gave that man the standing ovation during his season. And, he was crapping the joint. He deserved all the booze in the world, getting all the money he was getting and not performing. And then what happened when we, as a city decided to come together, give him a standing ovation. And then past that point, he was maybe the hottest player in baseball. And to an extent, like I wish we had the opportunity to do that for this team because this team is there somewhere inside. They've got some deep internal problems going on right now that us, the fans, can't see or figure out or understand because it's deeper than just the play calling. It's deeper than the performance. It's like something's going on there. They're all mentally like drained and tired. They don't look like they want to be there. And obviously we know, excuse me. We obviously know that's not true. Of course they want to be there. They want to win a championship. And they started this season 10-1. Like they have the potential there to be Super Bowl champions, and they know this. And I just want to see them come out and have a different mentality.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts came out today in his presser and said, "There's a lot you guys don't know. In fact, you don't know what you don't know." I hate when he speaks in quotes now because we're losing, so it doesn't make me as happy to say that. But there is a lot more problems than just what we're seeing on the field. And
there's a lot of things that people got to work on. I mean, Jalen Hurts has a lot of work to put in. He's got a lot of things he's got to learn. First of all, I think that he has to take more command in, being able to audible and see defenses and call things out and understand what the defense is doing. I do think he lacks his ability in those regards sometimes. I love him. I do not think he's the problem yet. He's had a rough season, but even in his rough season, he's improved all of his passing stats from last year outside of the turnovers. So give him a break, let him develop, but I do hope that he works in that this year. I mean, Nick Sirianni, I think, is playing for his job right now. I think depending on how this game goes, could make or break whether we see Nick Sirianni on the field as an Eagle next year.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. I never would have thought that case earlier in the season, but this was a collapse unlike anything anybody's ever seen. And it changed some things up, and we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So
and that's the key. I think that's the main key to that of the Sirianni stuff. I don't like a coach being called for his job, especially just for the skid of this. Obviously, it's historically bad and everything, but he's still a playoff team. There's 11-6 on the season.
He's a beyond winning coach. Like, I mean, in his first 3 seasons on the team, we have like a 40 and like 15 record, something like that.
And he went to the Super Bowl last year. He came out in his presser and he's wearing his visor with the Super Bowl patch on the side, pretty much giving the FU to everybody. Because he listens way too much to like WIP and stuff. I feel like he listens a little bit too much to it, to guys like us talk about it, because he gets like, you saw with the Chiefs fans' reaction and stuff like that. He seems to listen to everything, and I was listening to WIP on earlier this week on Monday, Tuesday, and everyone's like, fire Sirianni, like he shouldn't have his job right now. Like, no, we're not going to fire him before the playoffs, you idiots. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
You stupid idiots.
It was already stupid enough to change your defensive coordinator with 2 weeks left in the season.
Yeah, how's that gone? I hate Pencil Man. Nonetheless, let me give you 5 reasons for a delusional Eagles fan to have hope.
Let's hear it.
Number 1, the teams that we have beat this year. We've beat Buffalo. We've beat Kansas City. We have beat Dallas. We have beat Miami. We have beat the Rams. We have beat Tampa before. These are teams that are all playoff teams. We have more wins against above 500 teams than we have losses. Okay? And that's not saying much, but that's just how it is. That's just how the season's gone. Absolutely. Our roster has vets on his team. We have Jason Kelce that we're sending off. We're having Brandon Graham. I'm not saying these guys are guaranteed to leave this year. Brandon Graham, that might be his last year. Fletcher Cox. We have Slay. We have experience. We've been there last year. We have to. That takes something. That takes some accountability. That takes a little bit experience. We have the experience. We've been there. We have won. Some of these guys have won Super Bowls. Jalen's been there last year. This is a kind of a revenge game off his first playoff game. His loss when we lost to Tom Brady. Do you remember that game? It's 31-15, I think it was. Something like that. That's what they said in the script. This roster is very good. Number 3. I swear this roster is good. If it can get a little healthier, it would be fantastic. This roster is a top 5 roster in the league, and there's no doubt about it. If you just look at up and down every roster, every player specific, we have 6 Pro Bowls on our team. Number 4, please God, can the play call on this be better? And I'm just, it can be. I swear it can be. They're allowed to change plays, man. They're allowed to change, and I have made this theory in my head the last 5 games. It seems like ever since we clinched the playoffs, we have been running very bad play calling. Is that on purpose? I can't say that seriously.
Hard to say.
I can't say that seriously. But how funny it would be if we just have great play call in this game, and it's like, wow, like we did that so that no one else knew like these cool plays that we have off our sleeve.
You're gonna pull out a whole new playbook for the playoffs. Everybody's gonna be shocked. It's gonna be a new system that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody's gonna have film on our offense.
Do you know how hard this is for me to freaking do? I hate this freaking team. And the last one, we have to take it game by game. There is an opportunity for either the Rams to win. There's an opportunity the Packers win. We don't know what's going to happen, so we have to take it game by game. There's no saying the Cowboys already got past. There's no saying the Lions already won. We're going to do our predictions real quick, maybe. But nonetheless, we don't have our playoff schedule set out. It's game by game. It's one game. That's all that matters. It's one game every single week, 0-0, until we lose. But we're not going to lose. It's every single week. So there's no saying we're going to play the Niners next week. If all the favorites do win and we were to win, we would play the Niners, which stinks. But we don't have our playoff schedule. It's one game every week, game by game, and we have a chance. There's 4 games. We can do it, and it's not impossible. And this team has been the best team in the NFL at one point this season, and everyone just completely forgot about that because of how bad we have been. But no one remembers how good we were.
The talent is here. I'm with you, brother. You got me ready to run through a brick wall right now.
I'm ready to beat this team. I'm ready to go on a run, and we're going to get revenge against the Niners and the Cowboys. And then we're going to go to Vegas and win the Super Bowl.
That's right, Maz. I love it. God, I can't I'm
so bipolar to this team.
No, man, I'm with you. I mean, this team has given us a hard time to, have a lot of confidence. But at the same time, it kind of grounded all of us and brought us back to realize this team was the best team in the NFL for a time. The talent did not disappear. This team still has the ability to go out there and win a Super Bowl. And all they have to do is take it game by game, win by win, and get there. 4 games, 4 wins. That's all we need to win the Super Bowl at this point. It's not too much to ask for. And we're going to sit here and we're going to hope for the best. And, we have faith that this team can do it still. I mean, despite everything that's happened, we still sit here and it's hard not to have faith. They still have the ability.
Did you have faith in Nick Foles against the Falcons?
Hell no.
No one did. No one remembers how we go into that. We play the Raiders. We barely beat them on that field goal. They were probably the worst team in the league. We ended that season horribly. We were huge dogs to the Rams. We beat them, but I forget what that was. But anyway, I don't remember the exact part. But once we beat the Falcons, and this is a similar type team to that Falcons team. I mean, the Falcons probably were a little bit better, but once we beat them, we get over that hump, and it's just stack. We just need some confidence. If we can win this game, we just need something to light a fire, something. And this is probably This is probably the worst team that we could face in the first round. I mean, it's close. I don't think the Bucs are great. I'll be honest. I'd rather play them than Green Bay and the Rams. I'll be completely honest. And that's not set. I don't know. I'd
absolutely have to agree. I mean, but the big takeaway from everything you just said is that once again, we went from being the best team in the league to underdogs in the playoffs. We've been in this territory before. We've seen it before, and we saw how that went. Hopefully this team can run with that mentality and, make a point, prove themselves, and prove that they are still the team that everybody thought they were at the beginning of the year. So we're not going to jump into score predictions for this game because it is up in the air. I think, I would assume you're at as much of a loss as I am in terms of a score prediction. So just like you guys, we're going to sit back on our couches and hope for the best.
We've been giving out score predictions for the last 6 weeks, and we've been horribly wrong.
We've been a little off. We've been hoping for a little bit much from them. So let's
change. No score predictions, and we're hoping for a win.
Let's let them work at their pace. So with that being said, though, we're going to do a quick run through of the games. I'm going to mention them. If you want to give a quick blurb for why you think this team's going to win, feel free. But we're just going to make this a quick segment. I want to hear your thoughts on games. So first game being Browns versus Texans. Who do you got?
I got the Browns. I think Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind right now. I think the Browns defense is really good. And CJ Stroud's playing his first playoff game ever. Obviously, he's a rookie, so I think they're going to struggle a little bit. And I don't think the Texans defense is able to hold up. And that's just pretty much what I think. I think the Texans are a little bit hurt on offense, and that kind of stinks for them. But I think the Browns are playing – Joe Flacco's playing like too well right now. It's not real.
He is playing out of his mind.
Every game he's had over 300 passing yards. It's ridiculous, and I don't get it. And I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he's like Nick Foles. I don't know who he is. But this Browns defense is the reason I'm picking them. Is just because the better defense, and they've been playing better. They've been playing better ball. So
absolutely. I mean, the offense is clicking on all cylinders with Joe Flacco, and the defense is absolutely better. They just have a better shot at this game. I'm going to have to go with the Browns, too. The Texans have been a huge surprise, though. I mean, they've obviously shocked the world this year, going from the worst team in the league to making the playoffs this year. They really don't have an overly talented roster. They're a little banged up. I'd be pretty shocked if they pulled this out, but they've been shocking me all year, so I'm not going to count them out. But otherwise, I'm going Browns. Next game, we're going to do Dolphins versus Chiefs. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs just because of it's in Arrowhead. That's kind of the only reason why. This game is, like you mentioned before the podcast, this game's going to be 30 degrees below freezing. It's going to be almost 0 degrees Fahrenheit, if not lower. This game is going to be very cold. It's just going to be – I think the problem is for the Dolphins is their defense at this point. They're riddled with injuries. They have similar problems that we do, but I think they're even weaker at linebacking court, if that's even possible. They've been pulling guys off the couch at linebacking court. And if I think Pacheco's going to be able to run all over them. I think the Chiefs are just – as much as I like Mike McDaniels, I think Andy Reid at home in the playoffs, it's
hard to beat.
How could I go against him? How can I go against him and Patty? Especially with Tua. Literally, they want to talk about collapse. They collapsed that division. They should have a home game.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous that they had a bad collapse too. But nonetheless, I think the Dolphins will be able to score a little bit. But I have to you can't not trust Andy.
I hate to keep taking the same thing as you, but I think I'm going to have to stay in the same area and take the Chiefs on this one. I mean, the wind chill is going to put the temperature of that game somewhere between -23 and -30, which is going to be, if that's the case, the coldest game of all time, which is a wild thought. And, not that anybody's built for that weather, but if any team isn't built for that weather, it would be the Miami Dolphins. So, I think that's going to take a bad toll on them. Like you said, they're already riddled with injuries on the defensive end. It's going to be a tough uphill battle for them. As much as I want them to win, I think I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs on this one. Steelers-Bills.
I think the Bills are going to murder them. I
don't think we can talk much about this one.
I think TJ Watt's out, but this game is going to be very low scoring. I could see this game being 14-3. Apparently the winds in Buffalo are going to be upward to like 30 miles an hour. I heard they're by the lake. They are horrific. From Bills fans that were saying, I heard a podcast earlier this week about how bad the winds actually get. Apparently it's going to be horrible.
Didn't they got a ton of snow too, right?
Yeah, they got the weather out there. It's upstate New York. Like no one wants to be there. I don't know exactly if they're getting snow for this game, but it's going to be a crap show for offense in general. I just think the Buffalo has a better offense and better defense if you don't have TJ Watt on the field. And if Josh Allen could just not turn the ball over, I just think that the Bills roll over them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be incredibly shocked if the Steelers won this game. I mean, they're another team like the Texans that somehow continue to surprise me thoroughly through and through. I mean, I don't even know how they managed to make the playoffs this year. They felt like one of the worst teams in the league at the beginning of the year, and but then again, look at the Eagles. They felt like the best team at the beginning of the year. But alas, I'd be really shocked to see them pull this one out. The Bills not only were a preseason favorite, but have really come on strong the past, 6, 7 weeks, and just took the division away. I'd be really, really surprised if they lost this game. So I'm also going to go with the Bills. Cowboys, Packers.
I'm gonna have to sadly go with the Cowboys. I think this game will be better than I think it. I think it'll be better than a lot of people think it will be. I think Jordan Love he's played the back end of the season very, very well. I think he was 18-1 when it comes to touchdown interception ratio for the past however many games. I don't know if that's factual. Someone quoted that, but I think that the Cowboys should be able to roll over this team. I think Green Bay is playing decent football right now. I just think that overall the Cowboys roster is better. I think Dak's having a great year. CD's having a fantastic year. Would it surprise me if the Packers won? Kinda. It wouldn't surprise me as much as if the Steelers beat Buffalo, but that would surprise me a lot more. But this Packers team has been interesting, to say the least. I mean, they beat Detroit, they beat Kansas City. They've had some good wins. This Packers team is a little bit underrated, but they have some bad losses too. And I don't know what team we're going to get. I don't know what team. I mean, the Cowboys been shown inconsistencies all year. So, I mean, I would kind of look out for this game as I'm hoping the Packers win, but
I would love that. That would make me so happy. But
I think it's going to be a better game than people think.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. I was going to say to you, you were talking about a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game, to be honest with you. I'm thinking it's going to be like a 27-24 kind of game. And I think it's going to be a close one. I do think that obviously the Cowboys have a better roster. I think they're a better team. But I don't know. I've got this funky feeling that Green Bay is going to be sneaky against them. And that's kind of just a gut feeling. I don't have a lot of evidence behind it because I really haven't watched a whole lot of Green Bay this year. They're okay. Jordan Love put up slightly better stats than Aaron Rodgers last season there. I mean, the roster is not filled out. Like, they're not set up for a Super Bowl run right now.
They're very young. They're super duper young.
Yes.
Their entire roster might be I forget what the stat was. They're very young. They're
a team with a lot of potential, a lot of room to grow. But I do think they're there a little early. This is kind of a growing phase for them. I'd be shocked if they won as well. But it's going to be a close one. I guess I shouldn't say I should be shocked. I feel like I can see it going either way. But it's probably going to be Cowboys.
Yeah.
And finally, probably the best playoff game of this slate is the Rams and the Lions. Who do you got?
I have to go with the Lions. The script writers couldn't have brought out anything better. They circled this one at the beginning of the season to write down that, all right, so Stafford's going to go back to Detroit's first home game of the playoff game in 30 years on the Rams. And then no one's really – they always say Stafford first, and they kind of just like, oh, yeah, Goff played for the Rams. But I feel like Goff has more to prove, if I'm being completely honest. Goff has a chip on his shoulder. Stafford should be thanking Detroit for trading because he got a ring. All right. Goff has a lot to prove. They've moved on from him. They moved on from him in LA. The Lions are a great team. I think that Goff has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. I think Dan Campbell's a great coach. I know a lot of people are going to say pick the Rams as an underdog because Sean McVay knows Goff and this and that. Laporta is hurt, which he shouldn't have been playing in that last game. So that's going to hurt the Lions a little bit. But they have a lot of weapons on his team. They can run the ball very well. I don't think that the Rams' rush defense is great. The only thing going for the Lions is they do have a decent rush defense. Their secondary is doggy poo-poo. But I think Goff, and I think this game, I hope it is what we think it is. I think you're going to say similar things, that it's going to be a shootout. I think that's what it's going to be. That's what Vegas expects. That's what everyone would hope for. But I think Goff ends up coming out of this game because he has more of a chip on his shoulder, and I think he he's been playing better ball all year. I think the Lions are a better team overall.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, the Lions have been really impressive this year. I do think that they're a great team. They're an incredible offense. They've really bolstered up that offense with the run game and Amon-Ra St. Brown popping off. But to be completely honest, I think I want to take your script writing an extra step and say that it would be perfect script writing for Matthew Stafford to come in and beat his predecessors, in their first home game back, their golden boy coming back to beat them in their golden moment. So I honestly, I think I'm going to take the Rams on this one. Like you said, I'd have to agree that Goff has more to prove. But with that being said, I've seen Goff in a lot of high-pressure situations and feel like I tend not to see him perform particularly well in those situations. Even in games where they have won in big situations, it doesn't feel like Goff was the reason for it. I do think this game's going to be really close all the way through. I do think it's going to be a shootout. I just think that the one edge that the Rams are going to have is that extra experience from Matthew Stafford in comparison to Jared Goff. And I think that you might get to see some of that in the fourth quarter. But we will see. So it's going to be a fun one.
Talk about a hot team. The Rams are 1-7 out of the last 8. Like, it's ridiculous. Like
1-7? Oh, 1-7 of their last 8.
Out of last 8.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They've been playing great football. They're on a hot streak. They're a really, really hot team. And everybody does forget that this is a team that, won a Super Bowl 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
They're not far removed from a Super Bowl. So, they still have talented guys in that roster. Not to mention they added great pieces in Puka and Kyron Williams, the fantasy guru over there. So yeah, that's all the games for the slate. It's going to be a fun one. For the most part, we did go with most of the favorites here. Kind of hard not to. It's definitely a bit of a weird spread, but every single one, regardless, is still a close enough game. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're excited for it. And the only thing that would make it great is if the Eagles can break out of it and move on to the divisional round. So thank you guys for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. Please, as always, like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys so very much. Hopefully we'll be back to you with a few more episodes to end this year and don't have to take a short hiatus off of this season. Even if the Eagles lose, maybe we'll come back and, give a few score predictions. We'll have to chat about that. But, yeah, guys, we're just going to have to hope for the best, Us and you, we're going to be sitting on the couch watching the same team that you are, the same 0-0 team go in and, perform for a Super Bowl. So we'll see.
I hope so. But that's all you can do.
Yes, sir.
Go Birds, baby.
Yep, go Birds. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully with a win in our hands.